In this video, we're going to learn how to release content to your students. Now, before I get started, I want to make aware of what you're seeing here. So over on this side of the screen, in this window, you are seeing the view of a student. So this is my daughter, Emily. She is enrolled in the class, so this is what she sees. And then over here, we see what the teacher sees. So this is what I'm actually seeing. So obviously there's me and there's Emily. So keep that in mind. Student, teacher. Now, I've posted some content, taken content from my wife's calculus course. You can see it all here. And the way I have it set up right now is the students can see all of this. So if I go to content, and this, remember, this is what the student is seeing. They're seeing the exact same thing. Now, there are lots of different ways that you can release content. Some teachers just like to post everything and students can see it all. Some teachers like to hide certain things, and then some teachers like to release things based on conditions. So we're going to talk about all of that. So right now, as a teacher, if I look at all the stuff in Unit 1, you'll see that Emily has the exact same view. I guess the simplest way to take things away is if I go to, so let's say in Unit 1, let's say the only thing I wanted to see is the intro note, then I could go here to the other ones, vector addition and subtraction, and just click right here. So visible, invisible. So now it's hidden. And I can go to all of them and change visible to hidden. And now if I review, or if I refresh Emily's view, we should see that she only sees the one thing under content. There you go. So that's kind of the simplest way that you can hide and show things to your students. So I just paused the video and I unhid everything to take us back to where we were. So another way of doing this is using release conditions. And so here you can see that Unit 1, as most of our units do, they have a flow to them. So what I would like to do right now as a teacher is make it so that my students have to go over this vectors note, and once they do, that will kind of unlock this content. And then once they look at this, it will unlock this content. And so what that does is it forces the students to go through the stuff in the way that we want them to go through it, in the sequence that we want them to go through it. And I'm going to show you how to do that with release conditions. So right here you can see intro to vectors note. So the way I would like it over here on Emily's view is I would like it so that she only sees the vectors note, and then once she takes a look at the vectors note, then she'll be able to access the next one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So right here on the second one, vector addition and subtraction examples, if we look up here, you'll see the ellipsis, and it says view release conditions. So if I look at it right now, there are no release conditions on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a release condition. Now, the release conditions are very cool because they're very robust. You can create release conditions on a lot of different things. You can release content based on awards earned, on assignments done, on a checklist. There's a lot of stuff in here, and I haven't done a lot of it, but you can see that you can release content based on students authoring a discussion, getting a certain grade. So if you want, you can make it so that a student has to get 8 out of 10 on a quiz before they can move on to the next part. There's lots of things you can do. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to say visited content topic. So I click visited content topic, and then all the content loads into here, and there's a lot of content in this course, so I'm going to go find the one I want. So I want it so that the student has to visit the intro to vectors note in order to unlock this content. So I hit create, and then I save. Okay, and then let's go take a look over here. So if I refresh the content in Emily's view, you can see that intro to vectors note is still there, but the vector addition and subtraction is gone. So now if Emily goes to the intro to vectors note, she examines that note, you can see, look, it popped up right away. As soon as she did intro to vectors note, that now satisfied the release condition. D2L gave her a message saying, hey, new content is now available because you reviewed this, and you just unlocked that. So you could see that a teacher could take the time to say, well, you're not going to get this until you've reviewed that. You're not going to get this until you've reviewed that. You're not going to get this until you've reviewed that, and so on. So if you want to have, if you have Unit 1 with distinct parts to it, you can release it in order, and that way the students can go at their own pace. You don't have to worry about hiding, because when you hide and show, it hides and shows from the entire class. But when you use release conditions, then students can, like I said, go at their own pace, and it forces them to do the previous exercise to move on. They can't just skip to the end of the unit and do the final assignment without going through everything, which is obviously very handy. Now, the other way that release conditions are handy is in quizzes. So in here, we've made a quiz. So here is Jamie's quiz, planes in R3. And what we want to do here is have the students do a quiz. And as soon as they do a quiz, then the solutions become available so they can see them. So right here, you can see that we have a folder called, or a module called Solutions to Quizzes. So there's nothing in it right now. So I'm going to I'm going to add a file to it. So I'm going to drag and drop. I have a file right here on my desktop called Solutions. I'm going to drag and drop it right here. And there we go. You can see Solutions to Planes in R3 assignment. And its default is hidden. So I'm going to unhide so it becomes visible. But then what I'm going to do is give it a release condition. So I'm going to say, over here, View Release Conditions, and Create. And this time, instead of going to Content, we're going to go to Quizzes. And we're going to say Completed Quiz Attempt. And if you notice the options there, you can do a score, like I said before, but you have to do planes in R3. We'll say 1 attempt. You can change that. Oh, maybe you can't. And we create, save. Okay, so now this has a release condition with it. And I'm going to go back over here to see the contents. And you can see Solutions to Quizzes. Now the arrow's gone, so nothing in there. Now if we go to Quizzes, and remember this is the student view of quizzes. Here's the quiz. And I'm going to start the quiz. And I'm going to put in some stuff here. If I had more time, that looks like a fun problem, but don't have the time, so we'll submit our answer. Submit quiz, and we're done. So if all went well, we're going to go out here, and now we should note that under the content, we now can see the solutions. There it is. You can see the solutions to the assignment. I didn't quite get the answer right. That was close, but anyway, that's how you can use release conditions. So if you look harder at release conditions, again, you can see all the different things you can do. And once you create one, by the way, you can then browse and find it again. You don't have to create the same one over and over. And you can also have multiple conditions. So if you have multiple conditions, you could then set it so that all conditions must be met or any one condition must be met. But if you hit create, just again by looking here, you can make your release conditions based on assignments, awards, checklists, class lists, competencies, content, discussion, grades, quizzes, almost everything. And that way you can kind of automate how the students see the content.